Hello there, Jasco here. We're going to do our first scale today. So, what is a scale? A scale is a group of notes that'll sound good together in certain circumstances or in relation to certain chords and certain songs. So the scale that we're going to play is a C major scale. It's going to sound like this. And if I play a C major chord, you can hear that matches perfectly with the scale. It's not a coincidence. So a C major scale is basically all the natural notes, meaning all the notes that aren't sharps or flats. So if we're saying note names, we have C, D, E, F, G, A, B, and C. So there's 7 different notes, with the 8th note being C also, same as the first note, so that's an octave higher. There's a C, there's a C an octave higher. So we played 1 octave of a C major scale. What we're going to do is we're going to extend this scale and play all the notes in the C major scale that are in this area of the neck, this open area of the neck. So instead of just starting on C, we're going to go to the lowest note in the C scale that we can, which is our low E string. And we'll go to the highest note that's also in a C major scale, and that's G on the 3rd fret of the high E string. So what we've got is all the notes in C major, and we're not just playing them from C to C, but we're playing all the notes right in this area of the neck. I mean, there's other areas you could play it in. I could play up there or anywhere on the neck, but for right now we're just doing all the C major notes in this area of the neck. So, real slowly, that's open E, 1st fret, 1st finger, that's F, 3rd fret, 3rd finger on that low E string, that's G, then open A string, 2nd fret on the A string with our 2nd finger, that's B, then C, 3rd fret on the A string, open D, then 2nd fret D string, which is an E note, then F is the 3rd fret, G is open G, A is the 2nd fret on the G string, then open B string for B, C is the 1st fret on the B string, D is the 3rd fret on the B string, open high E, F is the 1st fret on the high E string, and G is the 3rd fret on the high E string. Here is a close-up of all the notes in the C major scale in open position. We've got open E, F 1st fret, G on the 3rd fret, open A, B on the 2nd fret, C on the 3rd fret, open D, E on the 2nd fret, F on the 3rd fret, only 2 notes on the G string, open G, 2nd fret, on the B string we've got open B, C on the 1st fret, D on the 3rd fret, high E, F on the 1st fret, G. So what is a scale good for? Well, at first it's probably going to seem just like a finger exercise, and it's good for that. It's good at building up finger skill both in your fretting hand and in your picking hand. But later on you can use it to create solos, you can use it to write songs. A major scale is going to be the basis of any music theory that you learn. It's another good thing is it's good to get the sound in your ear so you hear what that major scale sounds like. You can hear how that matches a major chord. It's good if you sing the notes. The more singing you can do along with your playing, the better. Even if you're not a singer. I'm not going to embarrass myself by pretending to sing, but I do practice singing a lot when I'm playing things just to improve my ear, my listening skills, and my awareness of what all the sounds are. We're going to be working on some guitar technique while you memorize this scale. There are 3 ways that I'm going to have you practice this scale in the beginning. If you're using a pick, what we're going to do is pick down on every note. Playing the scale, I want you to go back and end on C so you can hear that tonality of that scale. With our picking hand, what I want you to do is keep your hand pretty close to the bridge of your guitar, and you can rest it down there. Some people do, some people don't. You know, I've seen people play great both ways, so do whatever you want there. But keep it close to the bridge because eventually you're going to want to be able to mute strings, especially if you're playing electric guitar, you're going to want to be able to mute strings. And if you're playing up here or have your hand away from the bridge, it'll be hard to make that adjustment later on. The edge of my hand is just very lightly touching the bridge. So the second way that I want you to practice, if you're using a pick, is to play all upstrokes. And again, keep your hand close to the bridge. Now, having your hand close to the bridge applies when you're playing single note scales and solos and things like that. If you're strumming chords, then my whole arm is moving, my wrist is moving more, and I'm not touching the strings or the bridge down here. But it's kind of a different hand position when I'm strumming chords versus when I'm playing single notes, so keep that in mind. So the third way that I want you to practice this scale while you're memorizing it is to alternate down pick, up pick, down pick, up pick. And this will probably be pretty confusing with your picking hand at first. So you might want to go super slow and really pay attention. And usually the hang up is when you're doing string crossings. When you cross from one string to the next, there might be a tendency to do 2 downstrokes or 2 upstrokes in a row, as opposed to strictly alternating down, up, down, up. So if I'm alternating my pick strokes, it's going to be down, up, 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 So alternating. That'll seem slower and more difficult at first, but it will be the key to playing faster later on. Here's a close-up of my picking hand for alternate picking. When I'm holding the pick, I'm holding it between my thumb and my index finger. And I've got the tip of it, the pointy part, pointed down from my thumb. and I'm holding pretty close to the tip. I don't want to hold the pick way back here, or the pick will have leverage over me. I want to have leverage over the pick, so I hold it pretty close to the tip there, and I'm holding it pretty loosely. I don't want to hold it really tight. It seems like the tighter I hold the pick, the more it starts to want to squirm around in my fingers and move around, and the looser I hold it, the more it stays right where it's supposed to be. So I'm holding the pick loose. I'm still hitting the strings pretty firmly or pretty hard, but without tension in my hand. So again, you can see this part of my hand right here is lightly touching the bridge. If I want to mute, I just move the strings. I move my hand forward so it touches the strings instead of the bridge. So a non-muted sound is that. There's a muted sound that I might want for certain types of music or certain songs, certain phrases. But don't worry too much about that right now. Just worry about keeping your hand down here on the bridge, and don't hold it up here when you're trying to pick single note things. I'm going to play all the notes from the C major scale now so you can watch my hand when it's picking. So I discussed earlier, what is a scale used for? So one thing that you can do with the scale is to play solos. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to call up my band in a box here to play some rhythm tracks for me. And I'm going to play notes just out of this C major scale. I'm going to put them kind of in random orders and play a solo for you. And for those of you that are new to music, a lot of times when you hear people playing solos, they're improvising, meaning that the solo isn't pre-written or pre-memorized. They're making it up as they go. And when you know a scale and know if it fits over the correct chords of that song, then you can play notes out of that scale and they're all going to sound pretty good. So let me call up Band in a Box here. That was just notes right out of that C major scale. I didn't leave that at all. I didn't move anywhere on the neck or use any non-scale notes. So that's just an example of what you can do with that scale later on after you've got it learned really well. But for now, just practice it and we'll come up with some fun activities to do with it after you have it memorized. So have fun with that, and we'll see you in the next lesson.